You've carried more than most people know. You've stayed quiet, trusting, hopeful, while inside you've wrestled with doubt, with exhaustion, and with the fear that maybe this is just how it'll always be. But heaven leans in today with one clear message. Your breakthrough is near. And I'm not talking about a shallow, temporary shift. I'm talking about a move of God that changes everything. A divine alignment where the doors that once refused to budge suddenly swing open. And it won't be because you forced them. It'll be because you grew into them. There are things I've held back from you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You see, what I'm about to release isn't small. It's not just an answer, it's a turning point. And to carry it well, I had to make sure your hands were strong enough, your heart clean enough, and your faith deep enough. Some seasons feel like nothing is happening. You pray, you wait, you obey, and still it feels like the ground beneath your feet is hard, unshaken, unchanged. But what if I told you that the roots were growing the whole time? There's a tree that takes years to show any growth above the ground. Year after year, the soil looks the same. People pass by and think the seed must have failed. But in the hidden place, it's developing deep roots, roots that can handle height, weight, and storms. And when it finally breaks through the surface, it grows so rapidly it leaves people speechless. That's what's happening with you. You didn't miss it. You didn't fall behind. You've been growing where no one could see. And now is the moment where what's been developing in silence starts to echo in public. Your faith has been tested, but it's about to be proven. The tears you cried in private will turn into praise you can't contain. That heaviness you've been dragging, it's going to lift, and not gradually, but suddenly. You've walked long enough in the dark that even a flicker of light now looks like a miracle. And that's how breakthroughs begin. Not always with a loud bang, but with a quiet confirmation. A door that creaks open. A conversation that shifts the atmosphere. A moment where something in your spirit just knows God is doing something. And I am. I am closer than you think. There was a woman who had suffered for 12 long years. No help, no answers, just growing worse. People gave up on her. Life moved on without her, but she never stopped believing that if she could just get one touch from me, it would change everything. She didn't wait for applause, for attention, or for an invitation. She pressed through the noise, through the judgment, through the crowd, and she touched my robe. That one moment shifted her entire life. Because breakthrough doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. You've been pressing through disappointment, through delay, through the voices in your own head that said it was too late, too hard, too far gone. But you didn't stop. And because of that, something is about to shift. You may not see it yet, but there's movement. There's a cloud forming in the sky, just like the one Elijah's servant saw. It was small, barely visible, but it was enough. Because when I move, I don't need perfect conditions. I just need your yes. You've given me that yes, even when it cost you, even when it was lonely, even when others ran ahead and you were left wondering if you heard me wrong. You didn't. You heard me clearly. But what I was building wasn't meant to appear overnight. I've been preparing people, places, and provisions that match your assignment, not your anxiety. And now, as things begin to align, you'll understand why I said wait instead of go, why I said not yet instead of right now. Breakthroughs often come disguised. Sometimes it looks like a setback, a sudden loss, a shift you didn't choose. But beneath the chaos, I'm removing what's unstable and replacing it with what's eternal. You're not being buried, you're being planted, and planted things always rise in time. There was a runner in a race who paced herself wisely. Others shot ahead, full of energy and ambition. But halfway through, they started to fade. Legs burned, focus scattered, and the runner who stayed steady, she had the strength to finish strong. Not because she rushed, but because she trained for endurance. That's what I've been doing with you. I didn't want you to start fast and fall apart. I wanted you to finish strong. The kind of breakthrough I'm bringing requires depth, integrity, patience. And now that those things are in place, the doors will respond not to your pressure, but to my timing. This is the hour where the no turns into a better yes. The thing that once didn't make sense will begin to unfold with clarity. Conversations will shift. Divine appointments will happen. Hidden blessings will be revealed. But even more than what I'm giving you, I want you to know why. Because you didn't quit. You could have. Many did. But you stayed. You stayed when it was hard. You stayed when it was silent. You stayed when others told you to take matters into your own hands. You stayed with me. And I never forget that kind of faithfulness. You may not have seen fireworks, but I saw your obedience. You may not have heard thunder, but I heard your prayers. You may not feel strong, but the fact that you're still here tells me otherwise. The breakthrough you've been asking for is not on the other side of your striving. It's on the other side of your surrender. You won't need to fight for it. You'll walk into it with peace. You won't need to manipulate the outcome. I've already orchestrated it. You won't need to prove anything to anyone, because when I do it, they'll know, not by your performance, but by my presence. So take a deep breath. Let the weight fall off your shoulders. This is not the time to panic. This is the time to prepare. Because the season that wore you down is giving way to the season that raises you up. I am the God of breakthrough, and I am not far away. I'm right here. I'm in this moment. I'm in this message, and I'm letting you know, not with suggestion, but with certainty. Your breakthrough is near.
Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep your eyes on me. Because what's coming? It's worth every second of the wait. You've wondered if you missed it, if the window closed, if the mistake you made back then disqualified you from what I promised. But I want you to hear this clearly. Nothing I have spoken over your life has expired. My word doesn't return void. It doesn't fade with time. It doesn't dissolve because of detours, and it certainly doesn't get canceled because of your moments of weakness. I am not like people. I don't give up when things get messy. I restore, I redeem, I rebuild. I take the broken pieces you try to hide, and I turn them into altars where my glory rests. There's a moment that lives in the heart of a father when his child falls, scrapes their knees, and looks up with tears, afraid they've ruined everything. But the father doesn't turn away. He lifts them up, wipes away the dirt, and says, "You're okay. Let's keep going." That's me with you. You've had some scrapes. You've taken some wrong turns, but I haven't left you for 1 second. You may have paused. You may have stumbled, but I kept your breakthrough moving even while you were standing still. Because I don't just bless progress. I bless repentance. I bless trust. I bless the heart that still turns to me even after a fall. So no, you're not behind. You're right on time for what I've designed. There are blessings that take time, not because you're being punished, but because I'm aligning everything to fall into place with precision, not pressure. When Joseph was in prison, it looked like everything had gone wrong. Betrayed by family, forgotten by people he helped, misunderstood, overlooked for years. But at the right time, in a single day, everything changed. He woke up in a prison cell, but went to bed as a ruler of a nation. That's how quickly I can turn things. And when I do, it doesn't just bless you. It blesses the people around you. It rewrites generations. It heals the past and secures the future. Your name may not be Joseph, But your story is similar. You've been faithful in a place that felt like captivity. You've served others while waiting for your own freedom. You've dreamed dreams that didn't make sense to anyone else. But I've been watching. And just like Joseph, your moment is coming, suddenly, clearly, undeniably. You don't need to make noise. You don't need to rush doors. You don't need to strive for platforms. All you need to do is keep your heart postured in surrender, and I will handle the rest. When the Israelites stood before the Red Sea, they had no way forward. Behind them was Egypt. In front of them, water. There was no plan B, no backup strategy. And that's where many of you are. You've run out of human options. You've tried everything you know, and still nothing has moved. But that's when I do my best work. When your strength ends, mine begins. When you stop trying to figure it all out, I step in and part waters no man could move. And when I do it, everyone watching will know. This had to be God. That's the kind of breakthrough that's near. Not something you can explain. Something that leaves you in tears, overwhelmed, saying, I don't know how he did it, but he did. You've been faithful in the small. You've held the line in silence. You've stayed when you could have run. You've worshipped when you could have wept. You've prayed even when it felt like the prayers hit the ceiling. But they didn't. They reached me, and now I'm responding. There's a man who worked as a night janitor. He cleaned offices no one noticed. He scrubbed floors while others slept. For years, he walked the same silent hallways. People passed him without a glance. But one day, one conversation changed everything. Someone saw his consistency and offered him a role he never imagined. Not because he fought for attention, not because he demanded a spotlight, but because he showed up with faithfulness when no one was watching. That's you. And that's why this breakthrough will last. Because you didn't chase it in pride. You were planted in humility. And now, you're about to bloom. I'm not bringing you into something flimsy or temporary. I'm bringing you into something stable, something secure, something that doesn't collapse when life gets loud. So don't worry about the timeline. I'm not slow. I'm strategic.
I've seen what needed to move. I've shifted what needed to break. And now the path is being cleared, step by step. You'll notice it. People reaching out you didn't expect. Opportunities surfacing you didn't apply for. Ideas dropping into your spirit that solve problems you couldn't fix. It will feel surreal at first. You'll question, is this really happening? Yes, it's really happening. This is what happens when you wait on me. This is what happens when you don't quit. This is what happens when the enemy said it was over, but I said, watch what I do next. There's a widow who had nothing left but a small jar of oil. She didn't have status or influence, but she obeyed, she trusted. And as she poured out what little she had, the oil never ran dry. Her home was filled. Her lack turned into abundance. She didn't earn the miracle. She trusted me in scarcity, and that unlocked supernatural supply. You've done the same. You gave even when it hurt. You encouraged others even when you were empty. You kept the faith, not because you saw the outcome, but because you believed I was still in it. And now I'm filling your jar, not just with just enough, but with more than enough. Because I'm not just breaking you through, I'm breaking you out. Out of fear, out of cycles, out of limitation, out of shame, out of small thinking. This breakthrough isn't just about what I'm giving you. It's about what I'm removing from you. The labels you believed, the lies you carried, the patterns that sabotaged your joy. They're breaking off not because you forced them to, but because my presence breaks chains no effort ever could. I'm lifting you now. I'm restoring what was stolen. I'm placing you where you belong. And this time, You won't feel like you're barely hanging on. You'll feel settled. Because this is the move you've been praying for, but also the one I've been planning since the beginning. So breathe deep. Don't panic. Don't overthink. Just stay close. Stay surrendered. Stay expectant. Because the shift is not coming someday. It's already begun. And it's only going to increase. Your breakthrough is not far off. It's now near. And nothing can stop what I've set in motion. You've been walking a path that felt narrow and hidden, a journey that made others question your decisions, and at times, you questioned them too. You asked, "Why me, Lord? Why this long road? Why does it seem like everyone else is getting there faster?" And heaven's answer has never changed. Because I'm not just bringing you to a place. I'm building you into someone who can sustain what I'm about to release. A shortcut can get you there quicker, but it can't give you the character to stay. I've taken my time because what's coming to you isn't ordinary. It's weighty, it's purposeful, and it requires someone who has been refined, not just rushed. There was once a young man who dreamed of playing the piano on a great stage. Every day he practiced for hours. For years, no one listened. He played in silence with only his heart as an audience. Then one day he was asked to fill in for a renowned musician who couldn't perform. No one expected much. But when his hands touched the keys, the room fell silent. Every note was filled with a kind of depth that only comes from years of unseen devotion. When it was over, someone asked, "How'd you play like that?" He smiled and said, "I've been preparing for this my whole life. You just never saw it." That's your story too. The world may not have seen your preparation, the prayers, the sacrifices, the discipline, but I did. And that's why what's coming is going to fit you perfectly. You've waited long, but it hasn't been wasted time. Every delay protected you. Every silence matured you. Every closed door was a divine no, not because I was rejecting you, but because I was redirecting you. You've been walking in a fog for a while now, not sure where it's all leading, not sure if the vision you once held still matters, not sure if you still have what it takes. But that fog is about to lift, and when it does, you'll see just how close you were the whole time. Some breakthroughs don't look like explosions. They look like clarity. They look like peace.
They look like the weight you've been carrying suddenly becoming light. That's the kind of shift I'm bringing. I'm not just answering your request, I'm resetting your soul. And when your soul is whole, what once overwhelmed you won't even rattle you. There was a farmer who toiled every day in dry soil. Day after day he worked the land, even when it seemed barren. His neighbors mocked him. "There's no rain coming," they said. "Why waste your time?" But the farmer replied, "If I don't prepare the field, I won't be ready when the rain comes." And one day the clouds broke, the rain fell, and only his land bore fruit, because only he was ready. You've been preparing, even when it looked pointless. You kept praying, even when it felt like no one was listening. You kept believing, even when the evidence said otherwise. And now the rain is coming. The very thing that's been withheld, favor, opportunity, healing, release, is now about to pour into your life. But not randomly, not chaotically, strategically. Right where you sowed, right where you stayed faithful, right where others walked away, you kept showing up. And I'm honoring that. Because I am a God who rewards faithfulness, not performance, not perfection, just faithfulness. Even when your faith was small, even when your hands trembled, even when you said, "Lord, I believe, help my unbelief." I never needed your strength. I just needed your yes. And you gave it over and over again, in tears, in silence,
in worship, in confusion. You kept coming back to me. So now I'm coming through for you. This isn't a coincidence. You're not hearing this by accident. I brought you here because I wanted to whisper this into your heart. You are closer than you think. Don't stop here. Don't give up at the edge. You're not being punished. You're being promoted. I know it still feels hard. I know you're tired, but I am your strength, and what's coming will make the waiting worth it. There was a girl who once stood on a cliff, afraid to jump into the water below. Others were diving in, laughing, free, but she stood frozen, uncertain. Then someone came beside her and said, "It's okay to be scared, just don't let fear have the final say." With trembling knees, she stepped forward and jumped. And when she came up, smiling and breathless, she said, "That was everything I imagined and more." There are moments when fear will try to hold you in place just before your breakthrough. It will whisper, "What if it fails? What if you're not ready? What if this is too much?" But I'm standing beside you saying, "Take the step. I'll catch you. You won't fall. You'll rise." I didn't bring you this far to abandon you now. I didn't walk you through fire just to leave you at the edge of glory. I'm the God who finishes what He starts. And I'm finishing something in you. The final pieces are coming together. You don't need to chase the blessing. The blessing is about to chase you, not because you earned it, but because I promised, and I never go back on my word. So breathe, rest, stand tall again, because when you least expect it, when you're just being faithful, when you're just doing what I asked, when you're not even looking for it, breakthrough will find you. And when it does, you'll remember this moment, the one where you almost gave up, but chose to trust again. And you'll say, "He was with me all along. I was never waiting alone. And now it's finally time." There's something I need you to understand right now, in this moment. You're not forgotten. I know what it feels like when you're standing in the in-between. Not where you used to be, but not quite where you hoped to be. People pass by and don't see what you're carrying. You smile when you're hurting. You say, "I'm okay," because the world expects you to be. But deep down, you've been whispering, "God, do you still see me?" And today I answer, yes, I see you. I've always seen you. I've seen the quiet sacrifices, the late nights you wrestled with anxiety, the early mornings you forced yourself out of bed just to try again. I've seen the way you've cared for others while your own heart was breaking. I've watched it all, and I've kept every tear. You're not just a name to me. You're not just another soul in the crowd. You're mine. And when I say your breakthrough is near, it's not a vague encouragement. It's a declaration backed by heaven's authority. But I also know waiting is hard. Waiting stretches the soul in ways nothing else does. There was once a young woman who waited years for healing, not just physically, but emotionally. Everyone else seemed to be moving on with their lives, building, celebrating, receiving, and she waited in the shadows, smiling at others' victories while secretly wondering if hers would ever come. Then one ordinary day, with no grand signs or warning, she opened a letter that would change her life, news she had stopped hoping for, a door she never thought would open.
She cried not just because of the blessing, but because it reminded her God had never forgotten her. That's what I'm doing for you. I haven't forgotten you, and I haven't forgotten what I promised. But I needed the right moment, because I care more about your becoming than your arrival. Anyone can walk through a door, but it takes depth to carry what's on the other side. That's why I've been refining you, not to destroy you, to prepare you. Because you're not just about to receive something, you're about to become someone. Someone unshakable. Someone joyful again. Someone whole. This breakthrough isn't just about external changes. It's about an internal release. The fear that's clung to you, it's breaking. The shame you couldn't shake, it's dissolving. The weight of not enough that's lived in your chest for years, it's being lifted. Because I'm restoring what the enemy stole. And I'm doing it in a way that makes sure it never gets stolen again. That's why the process was long, not because I couldn't move faster, but because I love you too much to send you into a place of blessing without equipping you to remain there. The world teaches speed. I teach sustainability. And the breakthrough I'm bringing, it's going to last. So don't compare timelines. Don't measure your journey by someone else's pace. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on my time. There's a man who once built a house with his own hands. It took longer than his neighbors' homes. People mocked him for how slow it was. But when storms came, and they did, his house stood while others collapsed. Why? Because he took time to lay the right foundation. That's what you've been doing. Even when it felt slow, even when others seemed further ahead, even when your own heart asked, "Is this worth it?" Yes, it is, and it always was. Because you weren't building just for now, you were building for forever. Your foundation is strong, and now I'm about to build upon it in ways that will surprise even you. Sudden opportunities, restored relationships, healed hearts, provision that you couldn't have imagined, doors that require no striving, only stepping. But don't just get ready for what I'll do around you. Prepare for what I'll do in you. Because in this breakthrough, you're going to smile again, laugh again, not a forced one, but a deep belly laugh that reminds you life is still good. I am still good, and this story is far from over. You'll walk into rooms and feel peace, not pressure. You'll rest, real rest, because you'll stop trying to hold everything together in your own strength. You'll begin to dream again, not as a defense mechanism, but from a place of healed hope. Because I'm not just giving you the thing you prayed for, I'm giving you the heart to enjoy it. And that's why it's taken time. But now the shift is happening. Your spirit already senses it. That subtle hope rising again, that's me. That idea that dropped into your mind while driving, cooking, or sitting in silence, that's me. I'm whispering into your everyday life. Don't give up now. Don't retreat. Don't doubt what I'm doing just because it's not loud. Breakthrough often begins in stillness, like the moment right before dawn. It's quiet. Nothing moves. The world seems unchanged. But then, slowly, the light breaks in. And suddenly, everything is new. That's how close you are. That's what's coming. That's what I'm doing. So if you need to cry, cry. If you need to rest, rest. If you need to breathe, breathe. But don't give up. Don't stop showing up. Because the next chapter of your life, it's not just better, it's what you were made for. And I've been waiting to turn the page with you. There are moments in life when the pressure feels unbearable, where every step forward feels like a battle, where your prayers sound more like cries,
and your strength is paper thin. You've said things like, "I can't take one more delay. I'm tired of holding on. If something doesn't shift soon, I don't know what I'll do." And still you get up. Still you move forward. Still you whisper, "God, I trust you." Even when your trust feels fragile. Even when the answers haven't come. Even when you feel like a shadow of who you used to be. That right there is what moves heaven. Not your perfection, not your performance, your persistence. Because when the winds are harsh and the storm is long, even standing still is faith. You don't see it, but every moment you've chosen me over giving up, I've marked it. Every time you've said no to bitterness. Every time you've chosen love when you had a reason to shut down. Every time you believed when doubt screamed louder. It's all been seen, and I'm about to honor it. There was once a man who planted a seed in poor soil. He had no guarantees. The weather was against him. The season was unpredictable. But every day he watered the ground not because he saw results, but because he believed in the process. People mocked him, told him to move on, but he kept showing up. Then one day, without warning, the seed broke through. The harvest came so abundantly, it shocked even him. Not because he did anything different, but because he didn't stop. You've been watering the soil, in prayer, in quiet worship, in small acts of obedience. And just like that man, your harvest is coming. It's not delayed. It's been developing. Because I've been preparing something you didn't even know you needed, something bigger than the blessing you imagined. I've been restoring what you lost internally, not just externally. There are chains I've been breaking off you, silently, steadily. The chain of needing people's approval to feel secure. The chain of replaying the past, trying to fix what's already forgiven. The chain of always feeling like you're one step behind. They're falling off, even now. And when the breakthrough comes, you won't carry the old weight into the new season. You'll walk in light. You'll speak differently. You'll love differently. You'll see yourself the way I've always seen you, chosen, cherished, capable. You won't have to fake strength anymore. You'll live in freedom. But don't be surprised if the path looks unfamiliar, because new levels often come with new landscapes. And I'm leading you into territory that looks nothing like what you've known. It'll feel uncomfortable at first, because growth always does. Like a child outgrowing old shoes, they pinch, they squeeze, they leave blisters. But it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of becoming. That's where you are. You're becoming. Becoming braver. Becoming wiser. Becoming who I always knew you could be when no one else believed it. When David stood before Goliath, he wasn't armed like a soldier. He didn't look the part. He didn't speak like a champion. But he had history with me. He had slain lions and bears in the quiet when no one was watching. So when the moment came and the whole world was looking, he didn't flinch, because he wasn't performing. He was just trusting the same God who had always been with him. You're like David. Your story doesn't make sense to others. You don't have the credentials. You don't fit the mold. You've been underestimated, overlooked. But I see what's in your hands. I see the courage in your chest. And I know how to turn ordinary into extraordinary in one moment. Your breakthrough may not come through the front door. It might come through a whisper, a chance meeting, a small opportunity that leads to a chain reaction of blessing. That's how I work. You think you're just helping someone. I'm setting up your next season. You think you're just surviving today? I'm teaching you to reign in tomorrow. You think you're being delayed? I'm just aligning the right people and timing so when it comes, it won't miss.
There's someone who woke up every day at 4 a.m. to build a dream that no one saw. He was tired, unrecognized, and often questioned why he even tried. But he kept going. And one day, without any warning, someone noticed. Someone opened a door. And in 1 week, what he had been building in private was seen by millions. Why? Because he didn't stop building in the dark. You've been building too. Your consistency in hidden places is about to be revealed in public favor. Not so you can be glorified, but so that the world will know only God could have done this. So walk into today with renewed faith, even if it still looks the same on the surface. Even if the prayers haven't all been answered. Because beneath the surface, I'm working, I'm aligning, I'm lifting. And soon, very soon, the breakthrough will rise to meet you. And when it does, you won't just say, God did it. You'll say, He was with me the whole way. There's a tension inside you, the space between where you are and where you know you're meant to be. You feel it when you see others move forward. You feel it when things remain quiet, even though your prayers have been loud. You feel it when your heart says it's close, but your eyes can't see anything changing. And I need you to hear this clearly. Tension doesn't mean absence. It means you're in the middle of something holy. It means I'm stretching your spirit to fit the size of what I'm about to place in your hands. And yes, that stretch hurts. But pain doesn't mean punishment. It often means preparation. You've asked me, Lord, why does this feel so heavy? Because what you're carrying is sacred. Because the calling on your life is not ordinary. And because when I give birth to something great through your life, it will echo beyond you, into your family, into your future, into the people you haven't even met yet. That's why the weight is real. But that's also why I'm still holding you, even when you feel like you're barely standing. There was a young woman who was overlooked time and time again. Promotions skipped over her. Her voice was dismissed. She felt invisible in rooms where she gave everything. One day she sat alone, tears quietly falling on her lunch. She whispered, God, do you even care? That same week, someone she'd helped long ago recommended her for a position she never even applied for. A door opened so wide, it didn't just make up for what was lost. It surpassed it. What seemed like silence had only been set up. That's what I do. I work in silence so you don't build your identity on applause. Because if applause gives you value, then the absence of it can take it away. But when your identity is rooted in me, you can thrive in rooms where no one claps and shine in seasons where no one notices. That's why the hidden seasons are holy. They're not wasted. They're woven into the blessing. You're not behind. You're becoming unshakable. You're learning that joy isn't found in what you hold. It's found in who holds you. You've been walking through a hallway with no doors. Every day the same walls, the same ceiling, the same prayers, no windows, no exit signs. But what you don't see is this. The hallway leads somewhere. It's not a trap, it's a transition. And the door at the end of this hallway, it doesn't open with effort. It opens with timing. You've tried to push it open. You've begged me to unlock it. But I'm asking you to trust me with the key. Because when I open it, it won't creak. It won't budge. It will swing open so wide you'll barely catch your breath.
suddenly everything will make sense. The pain, the pause, the prayers that felt like echoes. You'll look back and realize, I was in every step, every silence, every setback. There was a man who lost everything in a storm. His business, his savings, even his home. Everyone told him it was over. But in the ruins he found a small journal he had once used to dream. He opened it, read his old ideas, and something awakened. From nothing, he rebuilt. And this time, it wasn't just a business. It was a mission. It grew faster than anything he'd built before. Why? Because his foundation was no longer fear. It was faith. You've faced storms. You've watched some things collapse. But I didn't let them fall to punish you. I let them fall because they weren't built on the right foundation. I'd rather tear down a faulty structure than watch it collapse while you're inside it. That's love, even when it doesn't look like it. And now, I'm rebuilding. But this time, with me as the cornerstone. That's why this breakthrough will feel different. It won't feel rushed. It won't feel shallow. It won't feel like you're barely holding it together. It'll feel like peace. Like confidence that isn't loud. It's rooted. Like joy that doesn't need a reason because it flows from trust. Because you'll finally believe, I'm not too late. I'm not behind. I'm not forgotten. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. There's a child who tries to run before they learn to walk. They stumble. They cry. They get frustrated. But the parent doesn't get mad. They smile. They hold the child. They say, you're getting stronger. That's me with you. I'm not disappointed in your stumbles. I'm smiling at your steps. Every time you try again, every time you choose hope, every time you forgive, every time you surrender, you're getting stronger. You're growing into the person who can steward the promise. So don't rush it. Don't panic when it still looks dark.
The morning always starts before the sun rises. And your light, it's already on the horizon. So keep showing up, keep praying, keep loving the people in front of you. Keep believing that I'm working even when the evidence is invisible. Because soon, the invisible becomes undeniable. And when it does, you'll say, He was there, even when I didn't feel it. Even when I questioned everything. He kept me. He carried me. And now He's brought me into the breakthrough I almost gave up on. There's a moment just before everything changes. A stillness, a breath, a quiet whisper in your soul that says, something is shifting. You've been feeling it, haven't you? You can't explain it, but you know it. It's not hype. It's not just hope. It's a divine stirring. And I want you to understand, this stirring isn't random. It's a signal. It's how heaven prepares you for what's coming. It's the gentle voice of your Father saying, get ready. I'm about to do what you stopped believing was possible. But don't be surprised if it doesn't come how you imagined. Breakthroughs rarely arrive in the wrapping we expect. They come disguised, in conversations, in unexpected losses, in closed doors that feel like rejection but are really redirection. There was a man who lost his job. It felt like the ground was pulled out from under him. He questioned everything, cried in secret. But with no other option, he began helping a friend with a small project. That small thing grew into a company. The man ended up becoming a leader in an industry he'd never even considered before. He thought he had lost everything, but really, he was being led into more. You may not see it yet, but I'm already repurposing your pain into purpose.
What felt like endings are actually entries. What looked like dead ends are really divine beginnings. Because I am the God who makes rivers in deserts. And just because it feels dry now doesn't mean the river isn't already on its way. I've seen the nights you stayed up wondering if you missed it, wondering if you should have chosen differently, wondering if maybe the best had already passed you by. Let me speak to that line now, loud and clear. You haven't missed anything I meant for you. Because what I've ordained for your life, no person can block. No delay can destroy. No mistake can cancel. You think your detours disqualify you? Not in my kingdom. I use detours to prepare you for destinations that require more depth. You think your heartbreak sets you back. I use heartbreak to create greater compassion. You think your waiting means I'm withholding. No, it means I'm weaving. Weaving protection, weaving alignment, weaving a story so beautiful that when you see it fully, you'll say, Lord, thank you for not letting it come any sooner. There was a woman who prayed every night for a certain door to open, but every time it slammed shut. Years passed. She assumed God had forgotten. But then, one day, another door opened. Not the one she wanted, but one that led to a calling so deep, so full of life, that she understood. This was the door you were building me for the entire time. She realized God didn't say no. He said, wait, I have better. That's what I've been saying to you. I have better. Better than you imagined. Better than what they told you was possible. Better than the version you settled for. But better takes time. And I know time hurts. It stretches. It breaks illusions. It tests your endurance. But it also strengthens your faith in ways nothing else can. There's something sacred in continuing to believe when you have no proof. There's something holy about loving me when I seem silent. That's real faith, and you've been walking in it. Even when you felt weak, your worship has been powerful. Even when your prayers felt empty, they've been heard. Even when you said, Lord, I don't know what to do anymore, heaven whispered, just stay close, that's enough. And you did. You stayed, and I honor that. I don't forget the ones who stay when it's hard. I don't overlook the ones who keep showing up with nothing but tears and faith. I write their names in the storm. I plant their roots deep in the soil. And when the rain comes, and it will, they bloom. And you're about to bloom. Not because you did everything right, but because you refused to quit. Because you clung to me when everything else gave way. Because your trust wasn't perfect, but it was real. And real trust is all I've ever asked for. You don't need to force this next season. You just need to flow with me. You don't need to prove yourself. You've already been chosen. You don't need to make doors open. You need to be ready when they do. That's why I've been working behind the scenes, not just around you, but within you. So when the door opens, you don't hesitate. You don't second guess. You step in boldly, knowing this is mine. I'm prepared, and I belong here. There's a story of a man who was told by God to build something, but no one understood it. He was laughed at, mocked, isolated. For years he saw no results. But then, one day, the sky opened and everything made sense. He wasn't crazy. He was called. And that's you. You've carried things no one else saw. You've believed when it felt foolish. You've built when no one understood. But you weren't building for applause. You were building for the moment. And it's coming. So let your spirit rise again. Lift your head, not in pride, but in peace. Because your waiting is turning into walking. Your walking is turning into running. And your running is turning into soaring. This is not the end. This is the moment just before the curtain lifts, just before the page turns, just before the door swings wide. Hold your peace. Trust the process. Because I'm about to do what you thought was no longer possible. And when it comes, it won't just bless you. It will bless through you. You've been standing at the edge for a long time now, feeling like you're one breath away, one decision away, one prayer away from something shifting. And you're right, because what you sense isn't imagination, it's revelation. Your spirit is detecting what your eyes haven't seen yet, because heaven always moves before earth catches up. There's a wind building in the unseen, and you can feel it in the moments where your hope suddenly flickers on again. When a song, a memory, or even the way light filters through a window reminds you, God is near. Don't ignore those moments. They're reminders, whispers of the breakthrough that's approaching. I know what you've had to endure. Some of it nobody saw. The pain that was hidden behind responsibilities. The silent battles in the mind. The effort it took to smile when your heart was heavy. But here's what I need you to remember. You're stronger than you know, and softer than you appear. That strength and tenderness, it's a reflection of me. There was a father who lost nearly everything, his job, his health, and almost his home. But every morning, he got up early, packed lunch for his children, walked them to school, and returned to look for work again. One day, his child looked up at him and said, "Daddy, you're the bravest man I know." He smiled, but in his heart he said, "I don't feel brave, I feel broken." But I saw him, and what he didn't realize was this. His strength wasn't in never falling, it was in always rising. Just like you. You've kept going when no one knew what it cost you. You've loved when it would have been easier to shut down. You've prayed when it felt like nothing was moving. And now things are moving, not by your force, but by my favor. Because when it's time, it won't take effort, it will take obedience. That's how breakthroughs often arrive, not through striving, but through surrender. You've been so used to fighting for everything, defending, pushing, surviving, that you almost forgot what it feels like to simply receive. But this next chapter, it's going to be different, because this isn't about you earning something. It's about you aligning with something. Something I've been preparing for you while you were still questioning if I'd forgotten. And I know, sometimes you've wondered, what if I missed it? What if I'm too tired now to enjoy what's coming? Let me reassure you, I'm not just preparing the breakthrough for you, I'm preparing you for the breakthrough. You're not going to miss it. You're going to step into it healed, restored, clear-headed, and more grounded than ever before. There was a young woman who had been in a season of deep loneliness. She longed for connection, for a sense of purpose again. She almost said yes to something that looked good, but deep down, she knew it wasn't from me. It would have filled the loneliness, but robbed her of the destiny. She waited, and her yes came through not the thing that looked shiny on the surface, but something steady, real, and blessed. Her breakthrough didn't just give her joy, it gave her clarity. That's the kind of breakthrough I'm bringing. Not one that confuses, but one that confirms. It will echo in your spirit like truth you always knew, but never had words for.
It will be the moment you look up and say, "This is what I was waiting for, and it was worth every tear." So be careful in this season, not afraid, just discerning, because as the breakthrough nears, distractions will rise. Things that look like shortcuts, people that sound like answers. But not everything good is God. Not every open door is from me. And not every voice is sent to build you. That's why your quiet time matters. That's why peace must be your compass. If it pulls you out of peace, it's not from me. Even if it seems logical, even if it comes fast, I don't rush. I orchestrate. And when it's me, it won't drain you. It will strengthen you. It won't make you question your worth. It will confirm it. So trust what your spirit knows, even if your eyes don't see it yet, because I'm closer than you think. And when it comes, it won't be subtle. It will be the kind of moment where your breath catches, where your knees buckle, where all you can say is, "Thank you," because it will make the waiting worth it. It will make the silence sacred. It will turn your "Why, God?" into "Wow, God." There was a man who once asked, "How will I know when my time comes?" And the answer was simple. You'll know because what once felt heavy will suddenly feel light. That's how you'll know too. The things that used to exhaust you, they'll roll off you. The thoughts that used to trap you, they'll lose their grip. The doors that felt locked, they'll open without you touching them. Because the weight you've been carrying isn't for you to carry into the next season. I'm lifting it, even now. I'm lifting the guilt, the fear, the voice that says you're not ready. You are ready. You've been refined, not rejected. You've been protected, not punished. You've been hidden, not forgotten. And soon the light will break through. And when it does, everything will change. But more importantly, you will have changed. You've walked through days where it felt like your prayers were hitting the ceiling. You've said, "Lord, I'm trying, but I don't know how much longer I can keep holding on." And in those moments, the ones where your voice broke and your faith trembled, I was closer than you realized. Because I don't wait for your perfection to move. I move when your heart is honest, even when you feel unsure. Even when your knees are shaking, even when all you can say is, "Help me, Lord," that's enough.
Your cries have never gone unnoticed. Your whispered prayers have never been lost in the dark. And your breakthrough? It's not delayed. It's being designed. There's a couple who once waited for years to conceive. Every month, they braced for disappointment. They celebrated others while carrying quiet grief. But one morning, unexpectedly, the test was positive. And in the very same hospital where they had mourned loss, they held new life. The nurse looked at them and said, "You waited longer, but now your arms are full." That's what I'm about to do for you. I know what's been empty. I know where the ache has lived in your chest. And I know the lies the enemy has whispered. You're always going to struggle. You're always going to be behind. You're always going to be overlooked. But none of that is true, because I am the God who remembers. I remembered Noah in the flood. I remembered Joseph in the prison. I remembered Hannah in her tears. And I remember you now. Your time is not running out. It's rising up. So don't you dare call this season a waste. You've learned how to worship without applause. You've discovered strength in the stillness. You've become someone who doesn't need the light to keep walking. And that is who I bless. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the faithful. The ones who say, "Even if nothing changes today, I'll still trust you, Lord." And that kind of trust, it shakes heaven. That's why this breakthrough is going to feel different. It won't come with striving. It will come with stillness. Not with anxiety, but with assurance. Not with panic, but with peace. There was a young man who'd been working for years unnoticed. While others were promoted quickly, he stayed in the shadows, doing the hard work. One afternoon, a senior executive happened to stop by his department. She watched quietly, took notes, and a week later, she offered him a leadership position, one he never even applied for. When asked why, she simply said, "You didn't talk loud. You moved with quiet excellence. That's you. You've been building in silence, loving without expecting return, choosing integrity over shortcuts. And I've seen it all. I've been keeping record where others didn't even glance. And I'm about to release favor that you didn't chase. It will chase you. But hear me. Don't measure breakthrough by how big it looks. Sometimes your breakthrough will look like peace that doesn't make sense, like sleep without fear, like a friendship that heals old wounds, like an idea that sets your purpose in motion. Don't miss the blessing because it came in a seed. Don't overlook the miracle because it didn't come loud. You've been conditioned to think breakthrough means fireworks, but sometimes it means clarity. Sometimes it means relief. Sometimes it means finally saying, "I'm not afraid anymore." That's the kind of breakthrough I'm bringing you into. One that settles your soul, one that aligns your steps, one that brings lightness back into your spirit. You've carried burdens too long. Regret, shame, anxiety about what hasn't happened yet. But I'm exchanging that now for rest. There's a woman who kept working double shifts, afraid to slow down. She said, "If I stop, everything will fall apart." One day, she collapsed from exhaustion. But in that forced rest, she finally listened. She heard me whisper, "You don't have to hold it all. That's my job." After that, she started walking differently. She moved in grace, not grind. And doors opened without her chasing them. That's what happens when you realize breakthrough isn't just around you, it's in you. You don't need to wait for permission to walk in the peace I've already given you. You don't need to have every answer to move forward. You just need to trust the next step. Because sometimes that's how miracles start. Not with thunder, but with a whisper. Not with a crowd, but with one faithful person saying, "Lord, I'm tired, but I'm still here. Use me." And I will. Your breakthrough isn't behind you. It's not stuck in your past. It's ahead, and it's getting closer with every moment you choose faith over fear. So lift your eyes, take a deep breath, and prepare your heart, because very soon, everything changes.
There's something sacred about this moment, because this is the last stretch, the part of the journey where most people quit, the space between almost and arrival. But not you, because even though you're tired, you're still standing. Even though the waiting has felt endless, you've refused to let go. Even though it would have been easier to silence your hope, you've protected it. You've kept it alive, like a candle in the wind. And I want you to hear me. I see you. And I say this with all of heaven as my witness. Your breakthrough is closer than it's ever been. You've asked for confirmation. You've begged for clarity. You've wept saying, "God, if you're really there, show me something." This is that something. This is me, speaking through the noise, piercing the doubt, wrapping you in a voice that says, "I haven't left. I haven't changed my mind. I haven't given up on you." The blessing I've promised, it's not lost. It's not late. It's loaded with purpose, and it's coming exactly when your heart will be ready to hold it. There was a woman who waited years for healing, emotional, not just physical. She tried everything to fill the ache, distractions, busyness, silence. But nothing healed. One night, she finally broke. She fell to her knees and said, "God, I'm done trying.
If you're real, I need you now. And I came, not in thunder, but in peace. She wept, not from pain, but from release. And from that night forward, her healing began. Not all at once, but real, lasting, whole. That's the kind of breakthrough I give. Not shallow, not temporary, but transformational. Because I'm not just changing your situation, I'm changing you in the process. And that is more powerful than any momentary blessing. So don't despise how long it's taken. Don't be ashamed of the path you had to walk. Everything has been shaping you. The delays, the silence, the detours, they didn't stop the promise. They built your capacity for it. You're not the same person who started this journey. You're wiser, stronger, more anchored in me. And that means you're ready.
There was a boy who trained in secret. While others raced ahead, he stayed behind, practicing, refining, learning. When the moment finally came, a trial that tested everyone, he didn't just pass, he rose. While others panicked, he moved with peace. Because he was prepared. And so are you. You think you're behind? You're right on schedule. You think you've missed it? You've been in divine positioning. You think your story has too many scars? Those scars are signs of survival. They're proof that you made it through what was sent to destroy you. And now, they're about to shine. Because the ones who've suffered deeply, they carry the oil that cannot be faked. You're about to step into spaces where you used to only dream, rooms you felt unqualified for, conversations you never imagined being part of, levels you were told you'd never reach. But I'm not interested in the world's qualifications. I qualify who I choose, and I choose you. Not because of your perfection, but because of your surrender. Because when others chased fame, you chased me. When others walked away, you stayed with me. When others gave up, you fell down, but got back up with me. That's why you'll walk in favor now, not because you forced your way in, but because you trusted me to open the door. And now the door is opening, not just to opportunity, but to overflow, the kind that doesn't just bless your life, but spills out onto everyone connected to you. Your family, your future, your circle, your calling, they'll all be touched by the light I'm about to pour into your life. And it will be undeniable that my hand is on you. People will ask, what happened? How did all this turn around? And you'll say, it was God. I stayed when it didn't make sense. I trusted when I had no strength. I waited even when it hurt. And now, here it is. Here's the moment. Here's the shift. Here's the answered prayer. Here's the breakthrough. So walk boldly. Cry if you need to, but don't stop. Praise even before the promise manifests, because heaven is already rejoicing. The blessing is already written. The season is already shifting. The chapter is already turning. And you're walking right into it. Because God says, your breakthrough is near. It manifests because heaven is already rejoicing. The blessing is already written. The season is already shifting. The chapter is already turning. And you're walking right into it. Because God says, your breakthrough is near.